A dangerous game of hearts. Morris Jennings had everything. Power. Fortune. A penthouse above Manhattan that touched the clouds. To the outside world, he was a philanthropist, a self-made billionaire who collected art and smiled for magazine covers. But beneath the tailored Armani suits and the careful charm, there was a hunger. For a man who could buy the world, only danger made his blood quicken. That was why, on an ordinary afternoon, he strolled into the Metropolitan Museum of Art as though on his way to a luncheon, and strolled out having stolen a priceless Picasso. It wasn't greed. It wasn't even about possession. For Morris, it was the pulse, the thrill, the unbuyable currency of risk. And then came Monique Foster. She was no ordinary investigator. She arrived at the scene with heels clicking against marble floors and eyes sharp as cut glass. The insurance company had called her in after the police failed to close in on Jennings. Monique had a reputation. Elegance sharpened into steel, sophistication that hid a relentless drive. She was the one they sent when charm had to be dissected and masks had to be stripped away. Where others saw a charming benefactor, Monique saw the predator in Morris's smile, the flicker of adrenaline behind his calm eyes. From the moment she stepped into his world, studying his file, watching him at charity galas, following him into smoky jazz lounges, he knew this woman wasn't like the others. She wasn't intimidated, nor easily dazzled. She was hunting him, and he found himself enjoying it. Their dance began with suspicion. Monique shadowed his movements, asking questions with an ease that made them sting. Her laughter often came at his expense, playful on the surface, but weighted with intent. Morris, instead of retreating, leaned in. He teased her with half-truths, invited her to dinners where the courses were less about food than about strategy. Every conversation was another round of chess, every glance a feint. One evening, the game turned. She came to his penthouse under the pretense of questioning, the city glittering behind them like spilled diamonds. Champagne chilled in a silver bucket, and he poured 2 glasses with practiced elegance. Monique accepted hers, eyes never leaving his face. "What's a man like you really after?" she asked softly, leaning forward across the table. Morris's smile curved, but his voice was steady. "Whatever I can't buy." For a moment, silence stretched between them, charged and dangerous. Her lips parted as though to argue, but his gaze held her still. The game had changed. Their affair burned quickly, like dry paper meeting fire. Sheets tangled in the moonlight as their bodies collided with the urgency of 2 people who knew tomorrow might betray them. In his limousine, stolen kisses blurred the line between pursuit and surrender. It was passion laced with danger, each touch daring the other to admit what they were really risking. But beneath the heat, conflict brewed. Monique wanted him, his wit, his fire, the vulnerability he showed in fleeting, unguarded moments. Yet, she also wanted the Picasso. Her career had been built on victories, on never losing sight of the objective. Morris, ever perceptive, felt the tension. One night, as he traced his fingers along her arm, he murmured, "You're holding handcuffs in your back pocket, Monique. The question is, are they for me or for yourself?" She didn't answer. The final act unfolded in the same place it had begun, the museum. Morris moved through the crowd like a conductor orchestrating a symphony of chaos. Smoke, alarms, guards running in confusion, it was his masterpiece. He slipped through shadows and mirrors, his movements a blend of elegance and arrogance. And Monique was there, heart-pounding. She could end it. End him. All she had to do was call out his name, raise her voice, and watch the law close in. Her fingers brushed the radio at her hip. But then his eyes found hers across the room. In the chaos, their world narrowed to a single line of sight. He tilted his head, an invitation or perhaps a farewell. She felt the decision rise in her chest, heavier than duty, sharper than pride. She let him go. When the dust settled, the Picasso was quietly returned to its rightful place. Official reports spoke of misdirection, of failed alarms, of another unsolved riddle. Monique filed her paperwork with steady hands, though her heart felt anything but steady. She expected Morris to disappear, to vanish into the shadows with his fortune and his freedom. That was what men like him did. They conquered, they escaped, they never looked back. But Morris Jennings wasn't like other men. He came back. Not with flowers, not with apologies, but with the calm certainty of a man who had finally discovered something rarer than danger. Standing in her doorway, no Picasso in hand, he offered her only himself. "I could have had the world," he said quietly, "but I'd rather have you." Monique searched his face, looking for the trick, the sleight of hand. But for the first time, there was none. Just truth. And in that moment, she understood. She hadn't lost the game. Neither had he. Together, they had rewritten the rules. Because in the end, Monique wasn't just another opponent in his dangerous game of hearts. She was the only prize worth keeping.